Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to the Forge Delights Forever promotional series. I've got lots of news and information to bring you, but I can't bring any of it because I'm in a bit of a rush because I finally had a free morning to bring you some SOPCOM action. And the FAF servers have been down all day, and now I've got to try and squeeze it in after lunch. I've got the school pickup at 3, and nothing says I love you to your child more than an extra 20 minutes waiting alone at the school gates when every other child has gone home. So, let's get on with it. It's going to be a custom 4v4, and since funeral planes went down so well last time, I thought we'd have another one of those. I'm ready, you guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready, so let's go on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. Woohoo! I actually managed to get through it first time. That so rarely happens. Alright, we'll call this Team 1 up here at the top right, this Team 2 down here at the bottom left. Going first for Team 1 up here at the top, it's RoboGear in baby blue. He's going Aeon, opening first land. Next up beneath him we have Mazanoob. He's misclicked and gone Cyberin, opening first land in Ferrari red. Team member number 3 for Team 1, it's Pappy Noob, so lots of noobs going on here, and he's going Seraphim in Halib orange, opening first land. And last but not least over here for Team 1 we have It's a Raf, I guess Raf C. We're going to call him Raf. And he's also going Seraphim in Elephantine Grey, opening first land. So 2 Seraphim, an Aeon, and a Cyberin, almost all racially represented there for Team 1. Let's take a look at Team 2 down here at the bottom, already on the move with his ACU. It's Dr. Z, and he is going Cyberin in Spetsnaz green, opening first land. Team member number 2, it's friend and fellow FAF broadcaster, co-op extraordinaire, Speed 2, and he is going UEF, how very sensible, in his ever so customary burgundy red, opening first land. Team member number 3 for Team 2, it's Robert C, also going UEF, this time in Pontiff white, opening first land. And last but not least, on the move already, going his customary lurid green, actually it's not lurid green, is it? It's like combat green, there we go, it's Taquito, and he's going Cyberin as usual, opening first land, going second air next to the Hydro up here. And we did actually mention it last time, I'm not sure if he's in the game, but yes, this is of course the author of said map, which we are viewing at this very moment. So well done to him. We're all very impressed with your map making skills, Taquito. Very, very good stuff indeed. And I didn't know this, mainly because I never played it. How shocking that is. This is actually a recreation of a Dune 2000 map. For those of you who are millennials and don't know what Dune is, shame on you. Go and check it out. Having said that, of course, I never played Dune 2000, but I did play Dune 2, which of course was the grandfather of, or I suppose that's not really right, it is the primordial soup which all things RTS were spawned from. So it really was the core common ancestor to point and click strategy, which we have that. So one of the successor games, which was Dune 2000, had a map which was very similar to this, which this is based on. And people tell me in the comment section below the previous cast that this is actually a pretty faithfully done recreation. So well done to him. Certainly makes for interesting maps, interesting contests between these guys. Lots and lots of power consolidated in the corners, and lots of drawn out action in the middle, as the wreck system means that you get penalized heavily for attack. But that's whole separate tangent. Let's take a look at game qualities at 94.25% in this one. That is what we consider, of course, a balanced game here at Guildcast. And first blood going to go to Team 1. It's Taquito that loses an engineer up on the plateau there. He's just going about his business trying to get a mech, poor darling. And he might be about to lose another one, as that lab there from RoboGear heading in towards a vulnerable looking engineer. Does kill a mole on the way in, but is denied that engineer kill, which will survive on 19 hit points thanks to his new best friend, this mantis here, Barry. They're going to get on like a house on fire should they survive this battle, which I'm guessing probably not going to happen. Statistically unlikely, I think it's fair to say. Already on his way to the middle there, up in the top right-hand section map, is Mazanoob, and he's also airdropping some NGs to the middle there. He's got his skyhook inbound, I'm guessing, for the main crater. There we go, offload into the center. Wants to try and scoop up some of the mass. Now there's a key that allows you to see. Oh, someone put this in the comment section of the previous. How did I not know this? Has this always been a function of SOPCOM? Can we just slow this down and discuss this a little bit, because oh my god, how did I not know about this? The font looks quite new, so I'm guessing maybe that's not a core feature. I don't know, but either way, it's an example, if it is a core feature, of how ahead of its time this game was. That's such a cool feature. Although, there we go, yeah, I was going to say there was no one on that rock. 75 mass there for the big rock. It might not sound a lot, but when you hoover up all of these rocks, that's quite a lot of mass in total there. Anyway, we can bump that up to normal speed. We can see Speed 2 and Robert C reaching that crater with the ACUs there. Just want to get over the lip so they can get a firing solution down onto the NGs in the center. Mazenoob going to lose some build capacity there. You won't be too worried about it. He will have scooped some mass. And the all-important thing is, I think he managed to get back to base with that Skyhook, which is a much more significant investment for this stage in the game. Coming towards the center for Team 1, we have Pappy Noob on the way there with his ACU. Looks like he's coming down to help this little setup going over here. He's got an engineer over here building a forward position, and we've also got Mazenoob who's come forward as well with his comm, both kind of standing their ground, not trying to make a play for the center or anything. A lot of extra mass going into the coffers here, I think, for Team 2. Speed and Robert C able to scoop up all of the mass in the crater there. A little bit of a potential run by brewing up at the left-hand edge of the map, the western edge. RoboGear with a handful of Auroras bearing down on this position, and will hit it before the point defense completes. Down goes the engineer, and down the mass extractor shall follow. Meanwhile, things much more evenly spread on the other side of the map. No major ground gained for either team there. Raf is getting an upgrade on his comm, just kind of forward, I suppose, southwest of his starting location. That's nearly complete. We'll look back or check back in on him in just a moment. Another Skyhook out now for Mazenoob. And is he making a play for the facilities over here? Looks like he's dropping off next to the mass. Of course, he needs to be careful. There's a tracer there. That transport loses half of its HP. Will he get the engineers off before the thing goes pop? No, it won't. That's a shocking, shocking play from poor old Mazenoob. Lots and lots of mass in the proverbial toilet early game there. Never mind, he won't be making that mistake on this map again. Unless, of course, his name is Guile, then it will happen every 6 months when you come around to play the game. Forget where neutral installations are. Speed 2 and Pappy Noob going toe-to-toe in the center with their comms. Seem to have lost a comparable amount of hit points from each of the ACUs as they exchange fire with one another. Speed 2 has some reinforcements rolling in. T1 tanks looking to help pursue Pappy Noob. Pappy Noob might actually have lost a little bit less. So he's on around 9,400. Speed 2's on about 9,000 or thereabouts. But he has got back up in Robert C. Robert C having a quick smoke break. Might be a little bit concerned about what's going on over here. He's got a forward column of tanks that has engaged Mazenoob's comm. Mazenoob down to 8,300 hit points, but a lot of those strikers in that early engagement have been destroyed. In comes Dr. Z to harass Pappy Noob's tanks. Can't push on too deep, otherwise he'll run into the fortification up here. Pappy Noob is going to take this opportunity to grab an upgrade on his comm. If we can find Raf's ACU, you can see what he was upgrading. So he's got the T2 engineering suite on board. That gives him a direct advantage against Dr. Z, who's so far unupgraded on that ACU. So a little bit of a danger on that right flank there for Team 2. That early push has been sorted out by Taquito. He's forced back RoboGear and has rebuilt the mass extractor over here. Going to lay down that auto gun once again. Looks like he'll probably get that finished. No danger brewing on the immediate horizon for him at this time. Pappy Noob about to complete that upgrade. Lots of engineers supporting him. I'm impatient. And that's the T2 engineering suite on there. And look at this, a Jester rush from Mazenoob brings in interceptor support to keep them alive as well. Very little or virtually no ground to air support in that main pack, but there is a Skyboxer coming in now for Speed, but Speed's down to around 4,200 hit points. Taquito comes in with a couple of his interceptors, try and deal with this Jester situation. Speed about to go into the red. There he goes, down below 3,000 hit points. Pappy Noob now pursuing with his own very large body of Thams. Speed has got a decent concentration of his own units. A little bit touch and go here at minute 8 to 9. Another Jester rolls in, but the Skyboxer makes very short work of that indeed, or Skyboxers now, as is the case. Robert C getting in behind Pappy Noob's tanks. Wow, okay, so Pappy Noob tearing through Speed's T1. Speed trying to get some emplacements online further back next to this T2 mass extractor. Could we see an early ejection here for one of Team 2's lead players? 2,300 hit points left on the comm. It's mainly Zooey's left though, and those are of course much more easily dodged. Shells rolling in, and finally Pappy Noob runs out of units. Speed 2 takes a battering in that exchange, down to 1,800 hit points, but safe for the time being. A very nice bit of pressure there, combined pressure from Mesa Noob and Pappy Noob, not living up to their names in the slightest. Speed 2 gets out of there, just not a particularly comfortable retreat there. That would have got the heart rate up for sure. But that really has changed the nature of the conflict in the center of the map. Mesa Noob now on Team 2's side of the divide. Pappy Noob getting some T2 point defense online, one already online, and there goes another T1 radar up to follow, and that gives them control of the crater with 2 extra mass points should they decide to build. Robert C and Speed 2 seem to be looking to make their stand over here. Speed 2 so far unupgraded on that commander, and he's 2 T1 kills away from the first rank in veterancy, so he can easily snag an extra chunk of hit points should Pappy Noob decide to go aggressive once again. Looks like he's in conjunction with Raf trying to get a bit of a run by going here. Dr. Z does have a sizable group of Mantis on the plateau. Finishes a Tracer. It's not going to help him against the T1 land spam. And now we're starting to see some T2 ground attack vehicles. Those pillars rolling out for Speed 2, and that outmuscles anything on the ground for Team 1, with the exception of the commanders, of course. And that will give them a little bit more breathing room. Pappy Noob with energy storage online. Mesa Noob not with energy storage, so he won't be able to overcharge should they get hit with a counter push here. And Raf has got energy storage online, so Raf and Pappy Noob will be a game changer should Speed 2 or Robert C get cocky here and try and push out. The comms should be able to deal with those units with overcharge. Meanwhile, a little bit of a test assault from Taquito runs into a line of Mantis belonging to Mesa Noob. Loses a fair few units in the process, but ultimately deals with that line. We've got a TAC missile launcher, Serpentine, online up here for RoboGear, and there are already 2 kills for that. You can see 2 destroyed mexes here that are on Taquito's side of things, so presumably that was responsible for that. Mesa Noob and Robert C, RoboGear still yet to take the top left-hand corner. Dr. Z not making any progress there on the bottom right-hand corner either. So a few mass extractors still available for these guys to pick up. Mesa Noob says to his allies he's going gun on his comm. Upgrade not due to finish for a while. Pappy Noob trying to keep his T2 or his latest T2 PD alive, but that's going to succumb to T2 mobile missile fire from Speed 2. He's got a couple of flak jacks online and under parashield coverage. Incidentally, it's that time of year, so if I sound like I've been gurgling with treacle, it's thanks to those wonderful little darlings and their shocking immune systems. Hopefully it won't be too unpleasant to listen to through the course of this one. There goes another T2 defense there, this time for FAF over on the right. So Team 2 trying to hit back here with a bit of range tactics, trying to pick off these defenses. And we haven't actually looked at the eco situation so far in this, and if that is representative, if he's not reclaiming anything, Speed 2 is ecoing like a bowl, so way out in front on 72 mass per tick. Next up we have Papinu, who's on 67, so I suppose not way out in front, so it's well, no, and then that jumps back down. Is he having power issues? No, he's not. So Papinu gets a momentary spike. I didn't misread it the first time round. That was due to reclaim. Speeds seems pretty level and consistent there. So Speed way out in front, 72. The next highest seems to be about 48, which is Robert C, and then everybody else in the 40s. No one ecoing nearly as hard as Speed 2 is right now, which really is the name of the game. I think on a map such as this, it's going to be so hard to make inroads early on or to deal a killing blow, unless of course you get a com kill straddled out in the center somewhere. It's going to be very, very difficult indeed to cripple the opponent. The best bet is to really stay relatively safe, try and grab a sensible amount of territory and eco like it's going out of fashion. Speed 2 getting a gradual hit point recovery on his com there, 4,600 going on 4,700 now, working on some T2 power. This thing settled down here as we approach the 15-minute mark in this game. Pappy Noob potentially about to lose another T2 point defense. Every other missile getting through, more than every other missile in fact. TMD missing a few, but the shield gen will help a lot. That barrier pops up just outside the edge of that emplacement, will offer the protection it requires. Be some time before the flapjacks chew through that. Well, however, they're slowly growing in number. We're up to about 5 or so, it looks like, at first glance. Little bit of a conflict brewing up here now between RoboGear and Robert C, who's moving in with a body of T2 troops, not really troops, but tanks and units. Parashield coverage, but a quick power outage quickly nullifies any benefit there. Taquito is going to go in as well from the west. Little bit of a air fracas as well between Taquito and RoboGear. RoboGear at T2 air has a few swift winds out in the field, but Taquito with a serious numbers advantage. RoboGear actually in retreat a little bit now, trying to get some more T1 PDs online. Speed 2 comes in with a row of T1 bombers. That knocks him into the yellow below 10,000 HP. And they're still online, so the harassment continues from the air. Do we have any air defense coming in? Well, we've got some Renegades, some T2 gunships coming in from Mazenoob to help sort out the ground spam. However, we do have some skyboxes in here. RoboGear gets a crucial rank in veterancy, which pops him back up over 7,000. In come the Renegades now. They're not going to last long against Taquito's Air Force, though. Cut them down immediately. RoboGear below 6,000 hit points. There's a lot of orange in there from Pappy Noob. And I think that might just be another failed attack. Swift Winds picking off the odd bomber from Speed 2, but they're promptly getting cut down in turn by Taquito's T1 air power. RoboGear drops into the red. 3,800 hit points left there. Another set of bombers coming in, but RoboGear now has established 3 Seekers on the ground, 3 Aeon T1 anti-air emplacements. He eats another round of bombs, down to 3,000. But once again, the attack peters out. So this time it's Team 2 that nearly snags a com kill there at 17 minutes. RoboGear can breathe a sigh of relief for the time being. Lucky to get out of that one, I think. Meanwhile, the mass of T2 troops, or T2 vehicles, I've got to stop saying troops because they're not troops at all. T2 vehicles, forces, whatever, for Speed 2 continues to grow in the center. Flapjacks hurtling missiles down upon that emplacement. The shield finally capitulates, and so then does the structure of the point defense. They can quickly take down that shield gen. They'll be able to move on to bigger and better things. They might well prioritize the TMD first, though, which is what they've done. Down it goes. The shield blinks on just fractionally too late. Now we've got some mobile T3 artillery. A Suthanus on the field for Pappy Noob, so he's transitioned to T3 ground. Where are we on the ground game for Speed 2? Well, he's just about to complete. There we go. Pops up to T3. So expect to see Titans and Percivals emerge soon for him. And he's maintained his lead on the rest of the field. Speed 2 in mass terms. 108 mass for him. So far ahead of everybody else. Second highest value is Pappy Noob on 73. Then Robert C on 71. And then everyone else 60s and 50s. Taquito spikes up to 76. And then 85 could be reclaim related. We'll check back on that in a moment. And we're at T3 air power as well now for Mazanoob, who's got an ASF lingering on Team 2's side of the field. Also out now with a whaler as well. T3 gunships. Not out in any significant number. Pappy Noob quite light on development. He really has just streamed out and built up front. If this front line goes for him, he will be effectively nullified in the center there. So vitally important he holds on to that. Sounds like a rhino going off somewhere. And T3 ground for Taquito. Loading up T3 mobile anti-air there on the transport. Just air dropping that to different parts of the field, I'd imagine. Dispersing his defensive perimeter. And a TAC missile launcher for Speed 2. What's he going after? Looks like the first missiles heading out towards RAF. And that's going to hit the T2P gen. And a lot of collateral damage on the NGs around the comm there to boot. He's also going to pick off a TAC missile launcher as well, belonging to RAF. And he's that's actually the fourth kill on that Aloha, that TAC missile launcher. So one TMD in place further back, so he's not really have much luck against anything behind that, but certainly could go after the exposed T1 mexes out here, or indeed that T2 PD. For the time being, the Flapjacks have withdrawn further back. They are taking some Suthanus fire. Pappy Noob now up to 3 mobile artillery pieces under shield coverage at his forward position. That could cause problems for Speed if that's allowed to continue. You can see the parashields already buckling now. Question is, how long will it take Speed to notice, and how many units will he lose in the process? Well, he looks like he's lost about 7 or so. Might lose some more. They're pretty badly damaged in the middle there. Some of these tanks holding on with just 100 hit points left. A violent sneeze should do the trick, but a quick drop from RoboGear drops a damaged Harbinger onto the field behind Taquito's front line. Speed comes in with some Janus power. Lands some pretty nice strikes on the top, as well as some T1 bombers. There goes the shield for the Harb. Speed helping the Harbinger do its work by dropping as many bombs on his teammates' stuff as he can manage. All unintentional, of course. And Percival turns up on the scene, and that was the end of that very short and dull story. Taquito, no doubt, thanking Robert C. for his intervention there. Helps protecting the base. It was actually quite a sneaky little attack from RoboGear, getting it in past Taquito's defenses, considering we've got a few bouncers lingering in this area of the map now. But hello, a little bit of a forward push from Pappy Noob. Gets another couple of shield gens online. Can we see a bit of a point defense creep? Or is he going to rely on the Suthanus and just roll them forward? We do have a few demolishers here as well for Speed 2, and they're increasing all the time. So pretty steady and stable artillery exchange here. I would be surprised if Pappy is able... Well, he's getting a third shield gen online. The Flapjacks have been largely destroyed by the earlier pressure. Dr. Z shows movement in the east, picks off a couple of units there belonging to Pappy Noob. Pappy's actually got a few THAMs over at the eastern edge of the map. Dr. Z finally getting his hands on some of that mass down there. Meanwhile, top left, still two mass extractors going begging, and a lot of reclaim as well. What you have to do is come after a few of these T1 and T2 PDs, and that's a lot of extra reclaim to be had in relatively safe territory. But it's not tempting Robo or Mesa up at that portion of the map yet. Pappy Noob going all-out shield spam to protect his new found territory, and a power failure allows a shell from a Suthanus to sneak through. Down goes both of the shield gens, and that prompts a response from Speed to roll forward. He doesn't like this encroachment. He hasn't got an awful lot there, though. Not sure this is well advised. He's just trying to take down the shields and sacrifice his troops, I wonder. Well, sacrifice he certainly will if he hangs about in there any longer. In comes a wave of Ilshivas from RAF, leading a charge ahead of significant THAM numbers. We're getting to the stage in the game, though, where large groups of T1 definitely not the threat they used to be. 24 minutes now into this one. Taquito and Speed out in front. Mazanoob chopping at Taquito's heels. Just a couple of people, or rather just one person now below 100 mass per tick. That's Robert C. Quick pause there by Raf. But look out, Fred is on the way. Speed 2 kicks us off, experimentally speaking, we believe. We haven't had a close look at what everybody else is doing, but there's a megalith on the way there for Team 2. Can't see any big bots being built, like my alliteration there, for Team 1. Bottom right hand corner relatively secure now for Dr. Z. And finally it looks like we're going to get some action at the top left hand corner from RoboGear to grab these extra mexes. Pretty late going for guys at this rank, 25 minutes in. They have been busy throughout the first portion of this game, but the last 10 minutes or so have been relatively quiet. Surprising to see it take this long. Not that I'm impatient or anything. And now lots of potential mass to be harvested. Not as much as you might think. In fact, they not actually shown on the little display there, these civilian structures. But that 369 for a T2 point defense. Well worth the grab. Not too shabby. Lots of Southernness now under shield coverage up here. Surely Speed isn't going to be able to contend with firepower of that magnitude. He's going to have to complete that crab pretty quick. And lo and behold, Taquito stepping in to assist with quite a lot of build capacity there. That will be nuking his own eco, but getting an important unit on the field in the nick of time. Speed desperately needs a bit of relief up front. This is all of his main base. He loses that. Team 2 loses one of their strongest players. Raf rolls forward. It's got a few Othams in there and an Athena. Is it Athena? I don't know. It's, Athena, yeah. Bit of shield coverage for his tanks. You might at first glance think that there's a lot more firepower down here for Dr. Z, but those T3 bots, of course, are all loyalists. No bricks in the mix. Fast moving, but lacking the tank and damage that the brick puts out. And there we go. So I don't know if that was actually transferred. That must have been started by Taquito, of course, because Speed going his customary UEF. Cold affecting my brain. So it's actually Speed helping Taquito complete the megalith, which will be now used to defend Speed 2's front line. Literally feel like someone has filled my head with maple syrup. Pretty unpleasant feeling. It's the most wonderful time of the year, that's what they say. Humbug. Shields down. Taquito actually walks it forward out of the arc of most of the shield gens, so can't take those out on the way past, but it seems more intent on dismantling the emplacements behind that first position. Speed 2 rolling in to kill off the shield gens with his ground forces. This represents a significant issue now for Team 1. Pappy Noob in full retreat. We have some Harbingers rolling in for stomping in, I think is probably a better way of describing it, from Robo Gear. Pappy Noob absorbing fire from behind. Could we see him about to go out? This will be a very depressing exit for him if he goes, and there he does indeed. 28 minutes. Pappy Noob starts his retreat too quickly. Either a scouting fail or just a misjudgment. Didn't see the megalith in time, or thought he had more time to get away. There goes his stuff, so no fairies have to die in this one. Fred actually returns to engage Raf's ground forces, which is backed off away from the bottom right hand corner, and that in turn opens up the gate for a loyalist push up the eastern edge of the map now from Dr. Z. So it's all go here. Team 1 trying to do what they can to take down the megalith, but now that has Percival support from Robert C. This will be a very tall order indeed. That is a fortuitous arrival, but goodness me, what on earth? Mesa Noob acting like a noob. Oh, I can't bear it. Telesnipes into the base to kill off Taquito, but gets himself killed in the process, as anyone attempting that strategy ultimately deserves. So it's 1 for 1 there, and suddenly in the space of a couple of minutes this game has been blown wide open and we lose 3 players. We lose the 2 central players there for Team 1, and the highest ranking player there for Team 2, I believe. Who have we got left? Robert C's on 1200, yeah. Speed 2, of course, 1800. And Dr. Z on 1500. Taquito, a whopping 1900. A huge, huge force for their team. And, of course, he was the one in command of the Megalith, which has gone pop as a result. So that provides some more breathing room for Team 1, who now have an experimental advantage, unless there's another one on the way anytime soon. There is a Fat Boy, but that's barely been started, and it has no major commitment from build capacity from Robert C, nor any assistance from Speed 2 or Dr. Z on it. So that's going to take a while to complete. Meanwhile, that should allow this Ethota to tear it up just a little bit. He's engaging Robert C's Percival's that aren't present in sufficient number to challenge it in any remarkable way, especially not with Harbingers rolling down from the north there belonging to Robogear. And now it is Robert C and Speed 2 in retreat, so that push didn't really come to anything. I'm not sure whether he retreated. No, I think it all got destroyed because these are all bricks. Dr. Z losing most of his forces over here. They partially engaged that Ethota initially, so thank goodness for Raf's timing on that as far as Team 1 are concerned. Otherwise that could well have been game, set and match. Robert C, T3 Engineering Suite and Personal Shield on board his commander. He's got his Fat Boy into the yellow now. Just one T3 engineer working on it. And completes the Zeph amp on board the comm. So he's going commando in this biz. Going to grab a little bit of extra shield coverage as the Ethota and Harbingers turn up. Could we be about to see another ejection here? That commander, almost like a small experimental, remember. Huge firepower on the overcharge, but 24,000 hit points on the commander. Speed 2 going Rambo as well. In he comes from the south with the Zeph amp on board and nano repair and the shield. Can they sufficiently double team this Ethota? It doesn't look like he's prioritizing the commanders at all. He's going straight in after the experimental in the base. That's probably a massive blunder considering Robert C is in the yellow. It's being furiously pinged by Team 1 saying, what are you doing? But he snagged it just at the end there as it dies off. So there goes another player, this time from Team 2. Rough FC, that was the plan. Yes, of course it was the plan. We all believe you and are in no way skeptical. Blatantly realized at the last moment and thought, oh yes, I should kill him. Anyway, it worked nonetheless. It might not have been pretty, but Robert C out of the game at 32 minutes, so it is now a 2-on-2, and Team 2 going from a pretty comfortable position in this one to looking like they're under pressure here. Yes, there's a lot of units in the middle now belonging to Speed. Some of them have been transferred over from Dr. Z. We've got bricks in there. Not a lot of Percival power. But we've got more experimentals, or an experimental rolling in now from Raf at the top right. Opens up those massive cannons, picks off a couple of the easy, opportune kills, the damaged bricks that were out front. And now it's got a little extra shield coverage as well. Speed 2 sensibly begins a fullback. Alright, now where are we going with this? Strategy, all important now, will determine the outcome of this game. So Raf concentrating on experimental production. T3 Air seems to be the order of the day for Robogear. And Dr. Z handling air there for Team 2. Speed trying to get a Fat Boy online, but could he be about to lose another forward position? Remember, he's got the comm out front. Overcharge, dishing out huge amounts of damage. has got Ravager support and a lot of Triads back here as well, so that Ethota is going to die. The question is, how much damage will its Ion Storms do? A little extra help from the Janus as they come in over the top. Ion Storm out, very unpredictable as to what they will home in on. Fat Boy that was under construction dies once again, and a Colossus that I missed also rolling down there from RoboGear, which will add an extra dimension to this attack. He seems to be taking a wider berth there of Speed 2's main base. Sensible considering what he's just seen happen to his teammates. Experimental. Base a little bit weaker, that forward position a little bit weaker for Speed 2 now than it was when the Ethota first arrived, but still, got to think the Colossus could do more damage if directed elsewhere. The only problem is he's incredibly isolated now. And on this side of the field, we have an air advantage for Team 2, so they are free to harass that poor GC, which is down to 83,000 and a half hit points. That's 83,500, not 83,000 and half a hit point, but I'm guessing you figured that out. Whaler brought in to add to the damage. And Dr. Z now spewing out T1 bombers. Seeing a lot more of this these days after recent patches become more effective. And why not? There's no reason when you've got air control that they shouldn't still be an effective tool. Down goes the air factory at the back for Speed. Colossus continuing to deal out the pain here, but Speed 2 building a long line of Triads, coupled with the overwhelming damage that's being unloaded from all of these T1 bombers, slowly eating into the Colossus, but he's losing mass extractors, 3 core T3 mexes, and there goes a 4th out of commission. They will get a nice mass dump, of course, from the death of the Colossus, and lots of old base parts to be cannibalized from fallen comrades, but still all of the pressure is coming from Team 1 right now. And another Ethota coming in from RAF. T1 bombers redirected onto the Ethota, which has substantially less starting hit points, of course. Does have some shield coverage this time, although it seems to be doing a pretty good job of staying just ahead of it, not actually getting itself any benefit from it at all. Really don't last long anyway against that firepower. Happy Noob telling his teammate to focus on the mexes. He's redirecting his Othams over towards the Omni. Will help kill some support, but down goes the Ethota. Not a moment too soon as far as Team 2 are concerned. It was just about to reach some very core, important areas there of the main base. Another Ethota complete, and rolling out another one about to be completed. And look at how the tables have turned in terms of eco. Speed after the recent attacks. Full mass bar, almost unable to spend what he's got quickly enough. And even so, he's only producing 169. Compare that to RAF, who's now on 270 more or less. And even his teammate Dr. Z is on 230. One saving grace is that RoboGear sitting well behind him on 123, and that is not from bottlenecking power. That is an accurate measurement of where he's at eco-wise at this time. The question is, will Speed 2 finally be allowed enough breathing room to complete a Fat Boy or two? Right, they're talking about anti-nuke now Do we have a nuke launcher anywhere in the back for Team 2? Well, yes, we do. And it's about a third done on its first nuke. And if we just take a look at what the conversation is, well, they don't say anything else, just no anti-nuke. So I'm guessing they've scouted and they've seen massive opportunity there. Certainly could cause a lot of damage in the center, but then it's not really RoboGear who's causing the most problems at the moment. It's definitely RAF. But then the eco is pretty spread out. Might not also be that easy to identify, but another Ethota in trouble in the center of the field now. RoboGear needs to get a handle on this air situation if they're to get any penetration with these experimentals at all. Otherwise, it's just dropping mass in very handy locations for Team 2. He's got his ASFs in play, and they're chopping through the aircraft in the area. And he's also got the assistance of some T3 mobile anti-air down here from RAF. Oh, 200, 100. Oh my goodness, down to about 16 hit points at one time. You might as well send that home and destroy it and reclaim it. Not going to get anything done with that now. 6 kills, no veterancy. Not particularly near the first rank of veterancy either. Pappy Noob telling him to return it. I think that's probably a sensible decision. Unusual game this has turned out to be, not least actually because of the Mazecom. I know I dislike it profusely. It annoys me. I see it as cheap, and mainly it bothers me because there's no direct counter. Yes, you can surround everywhere with T1 point defense, but it's so clunky. I shall never quit in my campaign for FAF to see sense and implement a teleport blocker such as the one that is present in Black Ops. It will never be over for me. I will whinge. I will whinge forever. But having said that, it has opened the game up a little bit. I think we were heading for a pretty one-sided fight at the time that Taquito went down. Looked like that way. That megalith likely to have gotten into some pretty soft areas, some soft squishy bits there belonging to Team 1. And now Steam has some firepower online, a couple of fat boys, and he's gonna hurt RAF at range as he tries to forge an angle here and get in towards Dr. Z. Dr. Z close to a game-changing experimental as well, about 60% done on a bug, but that might be optimistic thinking if this Ethota makes it into the main base. Pappy Noob telling him to get back. No, I say plunge on, try and get as much bang for your buck here as you can. Take out some of these P-gens, kill the bug. Might have been talking to RoboGear, whose experimental's under fire from the fat boys in the center. The Ethota takes down 4 of the T3 P-gens, and will get the last one as well. No, he won't. That major blast went on straight past it. I can't remember what that was there. That may well have been another one. Yeah, he will take it out with the Otham support. So massive damage inflicted, and he's lost the nuke launcher. It just finished. So what could have been a game-changing nuke there from Dr. Z, I completely forgot about its existence and lost it during the carnage. But quality attack there from RAF has partially annihilated Dr. Z, who's down to just 92 mass per tick. He's not even bottlenecked on power, so that's accurate representation of his maximum eco. He's lost his nuke launcher. He lost a 60% complete bug. That is catastrophic for Team 2. It is now up to Speed to pull off a miracle here. And now he's getting concerned about nukes. He's starting work on an anti-nuke in the middle there. Has he scouted a nuke launcher belonging to Team 1? Not seeing anything. Well, one has just started there from RAF. We have one complete for Robo Gear. Well, it doesn't look like it. Unless it's hidden off over here in the west. No. But that is just brutal for Team 2. A strap bomber in behind the lines belonging to Robo Gear. Got shot down before I managed to see how much damage he'd caused. Megalith started for Dr. Z, who's getting an upgrade on his comm. He's got the RAS on board already. But look at all of these dead mass points that should belong to Dr. Z over here. And another Ethota, but can he get down there? I think that's a slope that he can get down. He seems to be heading for a dead end over there, but I'm pretty sure that is a pathway up onto the plateau there. So potentially more problems for Dr. Z on that section of map. Speed just not in a position to shut down this route in towards his ally. Speed loses a Fat Boy, but should be able to see off this Galactic Colossus incursion. Speed operating with all of the right tactics here. Harass with the Fat Boys, skirmish, and when they counter push, move in with the Percys, although he might be getting a bit close here. Got his Percival's nearby, needs to back off with the Fatties and roll in with the Percys. Couple of Ethotas will make a mess of your artillery stations very quickly indeed. He hasn't presented the best formation going into this skirmish here, and he loses one of the Fat Boys, and there goes another as well, so an error there from Speed 2. He should manage to kill off both of the Ethotas in turn, but he's hemorrhaging experimentals now. He's lost 3 in the last couple of minutes. One more online further to the west. That Colossus we saw earlier with just 1 kill. I wonder if that was the Fat Boy kill. He's killed one thing and it was a Fat Boy, and then he got out of there. That is some special ops Colossus right there. SAS, giant galactic robot. RAF with one lone Suthanus out in front, firing the occasional shell. I think we can afford to bump this up a notch, allow these guys to get re-established. They're throwing so much mass at each other in these attacks. Takes a while to re-establish themselves for the next one. In comes a few strap bombers up over here from Robo Gear, so potential snipe attempt on the cards here. Those monstrous guns of the Fat Boy open up on that Colossus. Actually, that's another one. Just 1 kill for him as well. However, it was only a TY unit. On paper, they're both doing exactly the same. This one with slightly more to brag about. Nice shot of a T3 mobile anti-air in the end, and over on the other side of the map, blapping a plane out of the sky. And speed really has recovered well. 339 mass per tick up against Raf, who's on 356, RoboGear on 239, and Dr. Z on a very gentle 107. Little drop attempt over here, and it's not an attempt. He gets all of the engineers on the ground, and no sooner do they disembark, the alumna gets shot down. Pappy Noob begging for his teammates not to lose this game. Klinkhammer's going up on the front line for speed. More shield gens. And a new strategic missile launcher is commissioned at the bottom of the map there for Dr. Z. If I were him, I'd be building that in here somewhere. Somewhere a little bit safer after that last attack. Guess he feels that that side of the map is under a little bit less pressure now. Usually comes down to laziness. That's where my engineers are. I'm going to build it there. A few Othams up front, absorbing some fat boy fire. Now, if properly microed here, this could start to become a problem for Team 1. They do have decent numbers of strap bombers, though, that can be used to great effect against fat boys if properly microed. And there's certainly something brewing now as RoboGear piles in with his strap bombers. Is Raf going to follow with his? Speed 2. And Dr. Z comes in with their ASFs to intercept. What are they going for? Looks like they're going straight after Speed 2's commander. That was certainly very ambitious. He's got a lot of hit points on that comm, a lot of shielding in the main base, and that's a lot of mass they just deposited in the base for him. Happy Noob saying it's over. Well, it's not over till it's over. See a strategic missile launcher? Yes, we did. So that is nearly ready with its first missile. We did see anti-nuke going up in the main base for speed. Does it have a missile loaded? Yes, it does. How much of the base does it protect? All of it. So, and he's going to struggle to get a solution on anything important on Dr. Z as well. So no sneaking it in anywhere vulnerable. Potentially could take out some of the mass extractors at the back. That would be a waste. However, he might have to use it for close fire support in the middle as Speed 2 starts to roll out with these fat boys in the center, keeping everything at range. Dr. Z asking for mass for a tele-snipe, trying to repay the favor dished out by Noob earlier on. So nuke is loaded and ready to go. What will be the target is the question. Colossus rolling forward, and it was the Colossus he killed a fat boy earlier. I don't think he's going to get a second one, though. He might just. He's eating a lot of fat boy fire. Raf fires his nuke at the pile of units belonging to Speed 2 in the center. How well will Speed split the experimentals and the T3 units in the middle is the question. How much is going to survive? The Colossus does succumb without getting its second kill. The nuke will kill a lot of units and one of the fat boys. Now is the time to counter push. You would get the feeling from Team 1. They do they have enough of anything? By the time the Ethotas get in range of anything important, they've absorbed so much of that artillery fire. Just not enough left in them to do anything really significant. Speed 2 still withdrawing with all of his forces. He hasn't got a lot left in terms of Percival support. And now he turns back on that lead Ethota. A couple of shots should be enough to kill it off. There it goes. Fat Boys are safe from that one, but there are two more experimentals coming south. Slightly further to the left, Dr. Z claiming UEF is OP late game. Well, I don't know if it is, really. I think Speed 2 is OP late game, certainly in the mix of what's left. He's using what he's got very well and to great effect. He's just micromanaging his forces as they're meant to be used, and most people really don't because they can't keep up with managing their eco, formulating new strategies, keeping on top of intelligence, keeping on top of air production, while at the same time making sure he skirmishes correctly with their Fat Boys and withdraws them within such time as to keep them safe from counter-attack. Most people cannot handle that level of APM. Doesn't seem to be a problem for Speed. Living up to his namesake. Now, huge pile of T3 for Raf. Has to withdraw. He cannot seem to get close enough. There's not enough coverage in the middle either. Might be wiser to try and make another push down this side of the map and use some of the plateaus here for a little bit of shelter from the Fat Boys, if you can. Having not played personally on this map, it's hard to tell. Probably struggle to manage it even then. I'm guessing if you hug the terrain, the curvature of this hill, you might be lucky, block some of it. Then of course you come out here single file in a hell of a mess. Nuke launcher complete, at 20-25% done on the first nuke. 53 minutes, 53.5 minutes gone in this one, and another experimental rolls in at the head of a T3 pack belonging to Raf, and eats lots of Fat Boy fire on the way, and he's trying to zig and zag as best he can. The Fat Boys get up to shield coverage, and there goes another Masercom kill, this time from Dr. Z. Robo-gear out of the game, and Raf finds himself completely isolated, and that is surely GG for Team 2. Game set and match. Down goes the experimental. The Othams forge on forward, trying to deal out what damage they can, but they must be well aware that this is now over. Speed 2 alone, sitting almost double Raf's mass count. Raf can't believe it, says wow in local chat. A surprise win from the way it was going. To be honest, it looked like they were going to win early game before that Masercom from Mazanoob, so I guess that's what you call karma. And there's the kill at the end there. Dr. Z's actually going to go down first because he's right next to an experimental, and that's so fitting, isn't it? That's what, if that's the way you're going to to play the game, you will die in the end, as all Cyberins that play such tactics should. And speed to the last person standing. Very well done indeed. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, guys. As always, more to come from me in the future. Don't forget, if you feel so inclined, you can support me on Patreon. If you want to make a one-time donation, my PayPal is available as well. Details to all of that in the description below each and every one of my videos, as is, guys, the methods to get replays to me. If you feel like you've had a good game, you want me to consider a replay, I will take a look at it. And just check out the details below the videos. That will explain how to make... what's the word? I just completely forgot. How to give me replays. There you go. I will look for something fancy when a few simple ones will do it. There we go. So as I say, I hope you enjoy it. More to come from me in the future. But until next time, guys, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.